Hey y'all, Bill Quirk with the Defensive Training Group and Shoot GTR. Out here today to do another quick video. This time we're going to be talking about summertime carry. So those of you that live in Florida, you understand that especially during the summer, the temperatures kind of dictate that our clothing changes a little bit. And this is something that we deal with even in winter because your clothing changes there as well. But during the summer it gets very hot down here, a lot of humidity, and that very reasonably is going to impact your clothing choices. So the question becomes, how do we maintain our preparedness? How do we maintain consistency with our everyday carry gear when our outer layers, our covering layers, have been reduced or have gotten more sheer and that type of thing, lighter? So I brought a couple of things to show you here to talk about how we can maintain our preparedness and keep consistency with our carry gear. I've talked about both of these things in previous videos, but today we're going to be specifically dealing with them. And one of them has evolved quite a bit from the model that I showed you previously. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is this. This is called the Filster Enigma. And it is a sort of an evolved belly band system. And the heart of the system is this plate that attaches to the front of the holster. And this goes against the waistband, or against the body rather, inside the waistband. And these semi-rigid wings on this, this plate here provide the structure to tuck the holster into your body to give you that good concealment. It has its own belt. In this case, this is what's called the sport belt, which is a padded along the back portion, gives you a bit more comfort and a bit more stability, and it disperses the pressure a little bit from the belt system. The standard belt is just a complete belt about the width of this. So this gives you a little bit more, a bit of elastic, a bit of elasticity, which gives you a bit more comfort. It spreads the weight out a little bit. It's got some pouches sewn in here, so you can put stuff in here as well if you want to do that. But this system goes inside of the waistband, and it's actually, I've got the older version on right now, and I'm just wearing running shorts and a pretty light, quick drying, wicking type of t-shirt. But inside of the waistband, I've still got room for a full-size pistol. This is my Zev OZ9 ATEI hybrid that I've talked about in the past. So even in these light clothes, I can conceal comfortably and very discreetly something of that size. And as you know, I like to carry full-size guns, so that's definitely a plus for me. So going through this system, a couple of things that I've done. The regular system comes with what's called a leg leash, which is a tether that goes around the shooting side thigh, which provides you a little bit of support so that the holster won't ride up. I tried that, wasn't really something that I could ever quite get fit the way I wanted it to. As I would move around, it would slip down and that would pull the holster down, so I didn't like that. So what I did was replace it with a Discreet Carry Concepts clip up here. So this is not standard on this setup. This is something that I added. And that goes over the waistband, still very, very discreet. You're not seeing a whole lot sticking outside if the shirt happens to pop up. But what this does is it anchors it to the waistband. Now, the waistband of these running shorts doesn't have a lot of structure, a lot of rigidity, but it does give me a point of attachment that keeps the pistol consistently oriented above the waistband so it can't slide down. So that's something that I've added. And then these are also some Filster products, these two pouches here. This one is actually their AR-15 pouch. I've got it set up to carry my Cat 7 tourniquet. And then on the other side, I've got a single pouch for my reload. I just have my light clipped in to the inner belt inside the waistband, very discreet, but I like to have the light on there as well. The holster is a Filster product called a Floodlight. And what this is a universal fit holster within reason, but it's mated to the specific weapon light rather than the gun. So this is set up for a Surefire X300, and it'll fit just about any gun that has that weapon light attached. It locks into the light rather than the gun itself. So I can use any of the different guns that I've got that are carrying an X300. The one that I've got on is set up for the Model Light PL350 weapon light. So that's the one that I've got on, which obviously that's when I drew the gun. So in this case, I have my Monsoon Tactical Springfield Armory Prodigy, and you'll see that fits in there, and like I said, works off the light rather than the gun, so this will fit any of my different guns that are equipped with the appropriate weapon light. So this is a good system that you can utilize even in very light clothing, because you can set it up to ride a little bit lower. And you can do this with an ordinary belt holster as well, but in this case, especially because the belt that's attaching the holster to your body is independent of the waistline, it can ride a little bit lower than the waistband, and gives you really, really deep concealment, very, very discreet concealment. Now, bear in mind that the deeper the concealment, the less accessible the gun's going to be. So, as we've discussed in the past, concealment is a sliding scale between accessibility and concealment. So you have to find what's going to work for you, depending on your environment, depending on where you're going. But you can ride it deeper, a little bit harder to get to, but very, very concealed, very, very discreet. No one's going to know that you've got it on, even if you're carrying a full-size weapon. So that's one that I wanted to talk about. It's one that I've been using and playing a little bit with in the past couple of weeks as we've been going through this heat wave. The second one is, again, something that I've talked about in a couple of different videos. This is my 511 LV6 Low-Vis 6 fanny pack. And I've been using this for quite a while. I've got several of these. The nice thing about this is the main compartment is lined in Velcro, and so I've got a holster from Crossbreed that just Velcros into place, and I can adjust the cant and the height and everything like that. And I can carry a reasonably sized pistol. Perhaps not one of my full-length duty weapons, certainly not something that's got a weapon light that's going to stick down, because that does add length, and the pouch is just simply not that tall. But in this case, I've got a Arc Division modified Glock 43X. It's got the arc slide on here with the integral compensator, a Holosun 507K, and a Streamlight TLR 7 sub up here, and this will fit very nicely into that holster. It's very discreet. And then I can zip this up and like that, and completely concealed, very discreet, very comfortable, very easy. Again, the big consideration here, this is going to add a little bit of time to your draw because you have multiple steps now. It's not just clearing the garment and getting the gun up. You're going to have to grab the pull tab, and I've got a monkey's paw attached here to give me a little bit extra purchase, but my hand comes over, pulls it back this way, and then my shooting hand goes straight in, accesses the gun, and I come out. So it'll add about a second to my draw. Just reinforcing something that I've talked about. Situational awareness is one of your most important weapons, and definitely a skill to cultivate. If you see it coming, that gives you time to prepare for your response. The other pouches on this, in the front, we've got a zipper pouch. This is where my credentials go, my wallet. And then in the back, there is a Velcro section, and that's where my trauma kit goes. And so I've got my full trauma kit in here, Cat 7 tourniquet, plus a Ziploc bag with a set of gloves, some combat gauze, chest seals, and a compression bandage. So I've got everything nicely contained here. I've got another mod light clipped on the outside. Always want to have your white light. Even if you're carrying a weapon light, you got to have your handheld light. It's definitely an essential part of your EDC. And I've worn this in all types of environments, all types of situations, all types of different places and whatnot. And you know, it doesn't scream gun. People say, oh, it's a fanny pack, everyone's going to know you have a gun on. I haven't found that to be the case at all. You can hide quite a bit in here, and it is very convenient, and again, not a huge imposition on life when you're dressed a little bit lighter. So you'll notice that with my regular appendix gear, this is an important consideration on how I set all these things up. I don't like, there are some fanny packs that you pull the clamshell out and your hand comes in at a horizontal angle to access the gun, and you can hide a bigger gun on in those fanny packs. But the problem is, this is a different draw stroke. I like things that are all based around appendix, which is what I mostly do. So in the case of the Enigma, obviously that is set up just like an appendix holster. For me, you can also wear it in other parts of your body, but I keep it set up primarily in the appendix position. Same thing with the fanny pack, though, is it rides right in front. So when I pull the pull tab, hand goes straight in. It's very consistent, very similar to my appendix draw, and that just pays me dividends because my training is much more consistent and can be applied to different platforms. So hope you found this interesting. The point is, just because it's hot, just because we're wearing less, does not mean that we have to be unprepared. I don't want you, if you've made the decision to carry for your personal protection, I don't want you to feel like, I can't carry in the hot summer, I'm just going to have to leave it at home. There are technologies that you can use to to discreetly and comfortably carry whatever size firearm you've decided to do, and we've talked about that, but make sure it's something you can fight with. But whatever you decide to end up with, whatever your choice is, you can carry it comfortably and discreetly, even in the lighter clothes. So even when it's really hot outside, you can still have your tools, your everyday carry tools, and make sure that you are prepared. So as always, if you have any questions, leave them below. Give us a like, give us a share, and you all stay safe.